Hawks lose 6-5 in the shootout to the St. Louis Blues in a crazy game. We've got a ton to talk about. Wow, good start. And we're going to do it next on a CHGO Blackhawks postgame show. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame podcast. I'm Jay Zawoski. That's Mario Tirabassi.
Hello.
Thanks for being with us on this Saturday night. Well, the first half of the season is over. The Four Nations,
Half?
Yeah, the first
God.
before the break. You know what I mean.
Oh,
You're
man.
not thinking about the playoffs.
We're only
my friend.
half. Jeez.
Didn't you see the 2018 Blues?
Half of a half.
See what they did? It's never over until it's over. A lot of hockey to go, but we are now at the Four Nations break, but we got one more game to break down, and that's what we're going to do. Thanks for being in here with us. We appreciate you and love you. Hit that like button for us. Please get in the habit of doing that as soon as you click on the broadcast. The next thing you should click on is that like button. And if you want to know when we're being broadcasted, hit that subscribe button, and you'll know as soon as we jump on.
You'll get a notification every time we're live.
That's right. So the Hawks lose 6-5 in the shootout. The Hawks get goals from Craig Smith, Ryan Donato, Alec Martinez, Teuvo Teravainen, and Ilya Mikheyev. The shootout goes 10 rounds.
Oof.
And Radek Faksa is the game-winning shootout goal scorer for the Blues. And this game was all over the map. The first period, the Hawks are out to a 2-0 lead, so why don't we start there?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Hawks started this game very much like they played 60 minutes against Nashville last night.
Yeah, and being night 2 of back-to-back games with some travel in between, that's exactly how you have to come out. Like, you got to be the team that punches the home team in the mouth first. You did it twice. Like, that, I don't think there's anything more that you can ask of the Blackhawks to start a game with. Like, it was, a great start to the game, especially on the road. You get some good mojo going in the Winter Classic jerseys that had some very bad mojo.
They definitely need some
coming off of it. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly the start you want. You want to get on Jordan Binnington fast. Craig Smith gets a goal. Ryan Donato stays hot. Like, probably no better of a first period that you could have asked for.
No, and I think it's a good indication that you're starting to see this team figure out that playing in their structure works, and they get success that way. They've got points in 9 of their last 12 games.
That's good.
And you saw it. I think what happened in the second period is you saw a team that played last night get tired.
That's where it caught up with them.
And when they get tired and they get fatigued and those sort of things, it's when the mental lapses sink in. Then the mental lapses happen. It's a bad turnover. Then you get pinned deep. Then you're even more tired. And it is just this.
And you get stick penalties.
Yes. It's this rolling snowball of mental error leads to physical error, leads to pinned in, leads to now killing a penalty. And it's really, really hard to recover. But I think it's important for us to recognize that the Hawks had every excuse to just fold the tent after the second period today and say, all right, well, we don't have it. We're out of gas. We're tired. Let's just go home and get ready for the break.
Mm.
No, they came back. They fought back hard in the third period. I was impressed by the way they came back in the third. Shootouts are a coin flip. So there you have it.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it in the Edmonton game. Early in the third period, they get down 3-1. Would have been very easy to just be like, it's Edmonton. Like, what are you going to do? Pack it in. We tried. But they fought back, forced overtime. You do it again tonight, where second periods, and you saw it on the broadcast, Blackhawks have been outshot in second periods this year by 145.
Good
and
Lord.
they've been outshot attempted by over 200. So something about second periods. It's maybe the sandwich stanza, as it's known as. Maybe they have too many sandwiches in the first intermission, getting ready for the middle period. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they inhale those in the NFL.
Is it that big of a difference? The long change? I can't imagine it's that big of a difference. But it's just, this is where, and look, I've been pretty pleased overall with Anders Sorensen's job that he's done so far. Again, 9 points in 9 of their last 11 games. But it's these recurring mistakes, and a lot of them from veteran players. Like, how many times do we see Seth Jones, Connor Murphy, TJ Brody with opportunities to just chip the puck out of the zone and just throw a hand grenade in the middle of the ice, hoping to get the puck going in transition?
Well, Jones specifically on was that the third goal? That's just a bad read. But that's you're in a situation with him where it's a long shift, you get pinned in. Now it's like you're trying to make that fancy play, that low percentage play to get yourself out of the zone rather than just trying to ring it around the boards and try and clear it that way. But so that's where you talk about like those mental mistakes happening for, that situation where you had a long shift, you get tired legs, like it all, kind of bears down on you. But yeah, that's a tough one. And yeah, I mean, it's the harp on this team last season was how they could not start a game on time.
Yeah.
First periods were terrible. Starts were terrible. This team doesn't have a problem starting games. They're one of the top 3 teams in the league in scoring the game's first goal. They have been all year. They led the league in that stat for half the season. So starting games, they haven't had a problem with. It's the carryover of momentum. Tonight they had a great first period, but they didn't carry that momentum into the second period. And I get, you can pin some of it on that fatigue factor probably catching up to you, but it's more than just tonight on night 2 of a back-to-back.
Exactly.
It's so many times. And it's against, and a lot of times, frustratingly, it's against teams like the Predators. It's like against teams that are in the same spot in the standings that you are or close to them, where you're like, this team should not be ragdolling us like this in the second period.
Yeah, it's part of me as I was watching that second period unfold is I felt like the Hawks had kind of like started feeling themselves a little bit like, hey, look how good we are. We just beat the hell out of the Predators. We're up 2-0 now in St. Louis. Like, we're back, baby. The dynasty's back, and just got a little cute. And I think I think fatigue is the main part of it. But I do think that was part of it too, is that they were feeling very, very confident. You could see how they were skating with confidence in the first period. Second period starts, and they just look awful. The decision-making was terrible. The goal, again, watch that Seth Jones turnover on the third St. Louis goal. He has the entire left wing side of the Hawks defensive zone wide open, and instead he's standing to our right of Soderblom, backhand centers it right into the slot. It's that sort of stuff that just drives you crazy, where if you're tired, if you're fatigued, if you're pinned deep, just push it off the glass. If you got to take an icing, you got to take an icing. That's at least a 45-second breather while the ref goes and retrieves the puck. Everybody lines up for the face-off, and you try it again.
Yeah.
Maybe you win the draw and go from there. But just throwing it blind in the middle of the ice, that was really, really a frustrating part of this game. And it certainly wasn't – I don't want to put it on just Seth Jones, because a lot of guys were doing it, old and young. Like Frank Nazar was really fighting it in this one.
Yeah, and that's part of those growing pains for some of these young guys, is like kind of figuring out the, what you can and can't get away with. And sometimes for those young guys where they have games where some of those lapses and those mistakes, turnovers, they start piling up on each other, it's hard to shake off. And it felt like Nazar kind of had that kind of night where it was just like mistake, bad play. Play, and it just was just like
trying to force it a lot.
Yeah, you're kind of like trying to dig yourself out of a hole, which it's just not going to work. So it's tough for him, but in the same breath, like that's a learning moment.
Yeah,
that's something that these guys can experience in the NHL, learn from the next video session or whenever they do that. Now that they've got the break, like that's something that hopefully he takes into this break and kind of is like, all right, next time I get back on the ice, I'm going to have a little bit of a reset.
Yeah.
One that I wasn't expecting to have, which would be nice for him, I'm sure, and some of these other guys too. And then you go into, the final third plus of a season, and hopefully with some fresh perspective, like it's not coming into the break with a win, but these last 2 games, like fighting back, you lose in the shootout, it happens. But Sorensen talked about wanting to have like a really good weekend and go into the break with some positivity. I think these last 2 games, you definitely have enough of that to feel like, all right, got points in both games. You went right down to the wire. You had a really great game against Nashville. Like, I think that's a good, still as a whole, like a good way to go out.
Yeah, I don't think losing in the shootout is going to make you feel, going to take all the good vibes they've had recently and just erase them. I think they've probably moved on already. Just shootouts kind of are what they are. We can get into that a little bit later in the show. A couple of people want us to, so we'll talk about shootouts. But it was just, I'm glad they battled back. That was impressive. And every time that St. Louis punched back, the Hawks would punch back again. And shootouts are shootouts. That's what's going to happen. It's coin flip. All right, 3 stars of the game today. Mikheyev, Faksa, and Thomas. Mikheyev, if you missed it, had a goal and 2 assists, 3 points, had 1 shot on goal. It's 100% shooting, and 1 block shot. So he's your 3rd star of the game. We have 4 nominees for the 4-star of the game today. Nick Foligno, who had 2 assists, was a +3, 17-28 of ice time, 1 shot, 3 shot attempts, 112, lost 11 faceoffs. Alec Martinez, who scored his 2nd goal in 3 games, had 2 points tonight, a goal and an assist in 23-13, 3 shots, 7 shot attempts, a hit, and 2 block shots. He had a very solid game as well. Teuvo Teravainen, another multi-point night, a goal and an assist in 19-30, 2 shots, 3 shot attempts, and a block shot for him. And the last nominee is Ryan Donato. Think he's going to win. Another goal, his 19th of the year, 21-14 of ice time, 6 shots on goal, 8 shot attempts. Ryan Donato was doing Ryan Donato things all night long.
Hotter than burnt toast.
Get those votes in on our YouTube page, and we'll reveal the winner at the end of the show. And especially early in this game, Donato was just shot out of a cannon, man. He was putting everything he could on net, shooting the puck hard, shooting the puck often. I don't know. It's crazy. I never would have imagined. Like, guys luck in the seasons where they've got big outputs. You'll see it outlier years for guys, but so much of what Donato has done has been kind of like self-generated. I haven't seen a lot of fluky stuff from Ryan Donato.
His goals aren't like deflections, bounces going off of guys' feet and butts and going in the net and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he's had some real clean looks, real clean shots. Tonight's shot was perfectly placed. Like, he's trying to look it up here. What's his shooting percentage this year? Ooh.
It's going to be way up today.
Shooting percentage, 15.3. So, I mean, that's not astronomically high.
It's high. It's not crazy, though.
Yeah, it's his career best.
He's 10.4 for his career.
For a full season. It's above his. But sometimes you see guys have guys like Ryan Donato who are really good role guys. They're not supposed to be leading teams in goal scoring. But when you have guys like that do end up having seasons like that, the shooting percentage is something like, it's usually like close to 20, which is unsustainable,
right,
even for guys like Alex Ovechkin and stuff. But 15, what did I just say? 15.3 is not like wild.
No.
But for him, like, I mean, he's taken an advantage of having roles on this Hawks team that are elevated above what he would on a contender. He's played on the top line multiple times, so playing with Connor Bedard obviously helps, as we see with Tyler Bertuzzi, no longer with Connor Bedard, not as effective. So Donato's been able to take advantage of that. He's not afraid to shoot the puck, which is this team needs people like that. And when you have that mentality, a lot of times you're going to get rewarded. And he's just been a hard worker, quality role guy, and he's really just been, taking advantage of the opportunity he's been given.
Heart and soul guy. Better trade him for a third. All right, we'll be back with more on CHGO Blackhawks. Do us a favor, hit that like button. We are right on the cusp of 100 likes, so let's get over that hump before the next break. And we're going to get to your super chats as well on the other side here on CHGO Blackhawks. And just in time for the superb owl tomorrow, light beer just got better. Introducing Sam Adams American Light. It's clean, crisp, and super easy to drink. No gimmicks, no fluff. When you're cracking open a Sam Adams, you are getting high-quality beer. And with Sam Adams American Light, oh, my Lord, it's going to be awesome. It's brewed with 100% American-sourced ingredients from local independent farmers. Light beer that is made right. I know sometimes you get those heavies, those diesels, whatever you want to call them. You have 2 or 3, and you're starting IPAs. To feel like, oh, I just ate a newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
The light beer, you're going to be able to consume a little bit more. You're going to be home in front of the couch. Feel free to crack open an extra Sam Adams American Light because you're going to have that room in your tummy for it. It's an American classic. It's so smooth. You'll want to crack open another one and another one. It's always Sam's season. Light beer just got better. Grab some Sam Adams American Light. Available now at select Chicago retailers. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly. I would assume 21 or older. You don't have to be exactly 21.
At least 21.
Yeah.
At least. Hey, speaking of superb owls, if you're out there looking for some superb owls, you might need some help. And that's where our friends at Right On Optics comes in handy. No matter what your outdoor activities are, it's always important to have the best view. So Right On Optics and their binoculars are there for you. Right On Optics offers a full range of optic products so you can see clearly. Everyone can use a good pair of binoculars, whether it's trying to see owls or other birds, or if you're at your favorite sporting event, whether it's professional or your kid's sporting event, if you're at the 50-yard line or if you're in the parking lot because you yell too much at the umpires, Right On Optics is going to be there to help you out. You can use their binoculars, and you can see way down yonder, and you're going to see high-quality images, and you're going to see it crystal clear with Right On Optics. Every product receives a full quality control inspection, and Right On has their unlimited lifetime warranty that not only covers defects, but also accidental damage from drops. So if you're trying to find those owls or other birds, cardinals, Blue Jays, Orioles, other baseball teams,
not far enough.
If you're up there in the trees and you drop your Right On binoculars, their warranty is going to have you covered. So check out their full line at rightonoptics.com/CHGO. Again, that's Right On Optics, RITON optics.com/CHGO.
All right, couple super chats we want to get to. Andy with the $2 super chat says, F the Blues, empty seats everywhere. All right, we got to figure out what Ho-Way the Hawks means. Anyone have any idea what that typo is? Katie, any ideas?
I got nothing for you everywhere. On that one.
Ho-Way. Is it hooray for the Hawks? Let's just say that.
Let's say hooray.
Hooray for the Hawks.
Yeah.
Hooray for school. Hooray for the me.
The W and the R are kind of close to each other. I could see
that. That could be it. All right. Hoosier Hawk fan. Not who's your. Hoosier. Like from Indiana, like Greg Bragg's. $2 from Hoosier Hawk fan. Thank you.
Thank you.
And there's one more there from JT Sports Guy. $2 says, good week. The youth and the speed are starting to feel reliable. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Everett, was we were saying before the break zone, you kind of got to feel good about where things are headed, even at the NHL level right now. By the time this break is over, and by the way, there is no roster freeze during the Four Nations. They can trade to their heart's content.
Is there not?
There's not. Nope. They can trade their hearts till their heart's content during the break. Oh. They probably won't. They'll probably take the time to chill out and
don't trade someone while they're on a vacation.
But once they're back from that in 2 weeks, the trade deadline is right on top of you.
Yeah, because they play again, 22nd is their first game back?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and then March 7th is the deadline, so that's...
And remember, it's February, so
yeah.
It's a short
Yeah,
month.
It's only 28 days, right?
Yep.
Not a leap year?
Last year was a leap year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, you're 13 days away from the trade deadline once you come back, so it's going to be fast. We've seen trades leading up to this Four Nations face-off break, so it's kind of like 2 trade deadlines. But that second one is going to be pretty quick. And again, I expect the Blackhawks to do some things, plural. I would think, but depends on, it all comes down to what Kyle Davidson feels is best moving forward. But we've talked a lot about it. But the way that this team has been playing, I think they have a good makeup of the roster now that is helping the young guys move forward. How much further through the end of this season is that going to be beneficial? Because Davidson's talked about wanting to open up some spots for young guys coming in, specifically college prospects that are likely going to sign once their seasons are over in March or April. And you have a lot of veteran guys here that you'd probably rather move out than sit or send to Rockford. So some decisions will need to be made.
Like, how many spots realistically do you think they want to open? You've already got on a nightly basis. You have Nolan Allen still on the roster, not playing.
You have you have 22 skaters.
Yeah,
because Crevier is on IR.
Right?
So you have 22 with him on IR. So you have 21 right now. So you have 2 spots open right now. So I would say, like, if you're leaving, let's say Colton Dock in Rockford, you have 2 spots open. Let's say you move 2 of 3, Donato, Martinez, Maroon. So then you got 4 roster spots open at that point. And it very much sounds like Ryan Green and Renzel,
Oliver Moore,
Aiden Tom. Like, you have at least, I'd say 3, maybe 4 guys from college that they expect to sign once their season's over.
Yeah, and you got to wonder too, are there other guys in Rockford that they're going to give some time to? Like, we have not seen Samuel Savoie yet.
He scored tonight.
Maybe it's not his time yet in the mind of the organization, which is fine. Maybe they want to give Levshinov a handful of games just to see.
Potentially.
You want to get Nolan Allen back in the lineup, that's for sure. You don't want to have him sitting all the time. Mm-hmm. So there's only so many spots open. And, I mean, the only guys I feel like for sure are getting traded, and as much as I don't want it to happen, it feels like Donato.
Feels like more steam is picking up.
I mean, Scott Powers has reported for months, and no one's more plugged in than Scott, that Maroon and Martinez might just choose to stay and play out the rest of the year. And as veterans, that's probably part of the agreement that Davidson made when he signed them, was saying, we'll come to you at the deadline. If you want to be dealt, we'll come to you with some ideas and figure it out.
Having a no trade without actually contractually.
And it's a courtesy. I know that's probably annoying to some people, but when you get to guys who have done as much in their careers as Alec Martinez and Pat Maroon, you kind of have to give them those, especially when you're asking them to come to a last place team.
Right.
So it's not ideal, but you're also not going to get, what are you going to get back for those guys? 4th round picks at best.
Yeah.
So a lottery ticket, a scratch off ticket.
Yeah. And one that's not as valuable as what you would get for a guy like Ryan Donato.
I mean, I don't think anyone wants TJ Brody. There does seem to be smoke that won't go away around Seth Jones. It would totally shock me if that happened.
It would be, yeah. Even with the rumors of him being, on the trade, getting calls and, being on trade boards of all the insiders and stuff, it still would shock me that Seth Jones would be moved. But I mean, crazier things have happened. But I mean, for me, it feels like realistically, Donato is the big guy left to move, because I think it still feels unlikely Jones is moved. I don't see Connor Murphy getting moved. Martinez and Maroon, I feel like again, it's up to them.
Yeah.
It feels like it's up to them. And yeah, I mean, I think there's value to be had in moving some of these guys. And I think that with Donato, like you saw tonight, Elliot Friedman on the Saturday headline segment on Sportsnet said that multiple Canadian market teams have inquired about Donato, and he specifically mentioned the Oilers, which I think would be fascinating if a trade was facilitated between Kyle Davidson and Stan Bowman. They
don't have a first-round pick.
Quite interesting. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not.
We'll see what happens.
I'm not. Unless Ryan Donato has flat out told you I am exploring free agency, I'm not moving him for anything less than a second. I'm sorry. And maybe I'm nuts. Maybe I'm overvaluing him, but I don't know. Someone in the chat earlier mentioned, well, Taylor Radish scored 20 goals once, and he's not a 20-goal scorer. That's fine. That's well and good, but there's things that Ryan Donato does well that Taylor Radish didn't.
Yeah,
Ryan Donato is valuable all over the lineup.
They're different
all
players.
Over the roster. So there's value there with him either way. I don't know. I think we're going to know. I don't know if Donato has been flat out asked. He strikes me as the kind of guy that if you said, have you told Kyle Davidson you'd like to be traded, he would either not answer or say, I leave that up to between him and my agent. I don't really get involved. He'd probably dance around that question. But unless he flat out said, I'm not coming back here, then I'm keeping him. And I think there's value in having guys like that around. And even if there's not an extension, which would bum me out, I think having him around for guys like Slaggert and guys like Moore and guys like Green, like those kind of middle of the lineup, not elite type. Maybe Oliver Moore becomes elite. We don't know. He's probably more possible to do that than Green or Thompson. But to have some mentorship, especially if you do end up moving Maroon or Martinez, I'm just not comfortable giving him up for nothing. The Hawks have so many damn draft picks in the middle of the draft. Over the next 3 seasons, rounds 2, 3, and 4, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 picks the next 3 years between rounds 2 and 4. There's only so many spots you're allowed to have on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many players you can have in your system. Now, if some team comes to you and says, we've got a young player, we're a contender, we've got a young player that needs to get in the NHL, that we don't have space for in the NHL, we're trying to go for it right now, then I start listening. But I'm just not interested in picking up more draft assets that are not first-round picks. Because even if it's a second, it's going to be a late second-round pick. I'm just not... I don't know. I think Donato means a lot to this team on and off the ice, and I'm just not giving him away for the sake of giving him away anymore. I'm just not. My head is not there anymore. And maybe I'm thinking too much with my heart, but
I think if you are not moving him, like you were saying, there would have to be some discussion of, we're not moving you, I'm not going to trade you, because March 8th, here's your extension. Like that's the situation in which I would feel comfortable not moving him, because if you don't trade him when his value is the highest, which it is right now, if you're not trading him, you have to have that not buy-in. You have to have that commitment from him on his end of things. Because if you don't move him and you don't get a deal done and he walks, that's going to be real tough. That's going to be real tough to swallow, because honestly, like I don't think you can expect Ryan Donato to replicate what he did this year again.
Probably not.
And probably not. And as much as it's not necessarily apples to apples with Donato and Radish, the one-off 20-goal scorers, Radish, Athanasiou, Jason Dickinson, like I think there's a little bit of like, is this Ryan Donato going to be another one of these guys where it's just like a one-off 20-goal scorer, 20-plus guy, and then you invest in him and, he kind of regresses to, he's only going to get 30 points and play in bottom roles. Like, I'm not saying you need Ryan Donato to be a top 6 guy, but I think like if you're not going to trade him, it has to be with the extension there, because you can't not trade him, not get it done, and then he walks in free agency.
There is a value to culture. I think culture has a value, and I think beyond what his future production will be, he will provide, just like Jason Dickinson, even though he's not put up the numbers he did last year, he's still incredibly valuable to this team for many, many reasons. All right, we got to hit the break zone one more time. We're at, 132 likes? Let's get to 150. How about that? How's that sound? 150? Doable?
Yeah,
Katie?
that should be doable.
You're down? That's a thumbs up. All right, we're going to hit the break zone, back with more, including any new super chats on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. And if you're looking for a healthier way to relieve aches and pains while getting a better night's sleep, try Cornbread Hemp's USDA organic CBD gummies. I love these things. Oh my goodness, they taste amazing. Their packaging is top-notch. It's wonderful stuff. Cornbread offers the first USDA organic CBD gummy in the United States. Their CBD gummies are the highest quality full-spectrum gummies on the market. They help with stress relief, better recovery, and improve sleep, and that's what I need it for. Here's what sets Cornbread's CBD gummies apart. Full spectrum, USDA certified organic, made from flower only, never the whole plant, meaning stems and leaves and roots and dirt. They're third-party lab tested for potency, terpenes, and contaminants. They're vegan, dairy-free, and Mario, gluten-free.
Ew.
With no artificial flavors or preservatives, Cornbread offers free shipping and backs all products with their 30-day Better Life guarantee. Take Cornbread's 2-minute quiz to get custom recommendations tailored to your needs, whether for aches, pains, sleep support, or stress relief. If you want to give Cornbread a try, they're offering CHGO listeners 30% off their first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO and use promo code CHGO at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO. Use code CHGO for 30% off your first order. This is the good life.
Hey, if you're living that good life, why not get yourself a new Chevy? And you can save on a new car, specifically a new Chevy, when you shop at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake. You can head in today to shop their huge selection. Right now, you can take 10 to 20% off of MSRP on select new Chevy models, or, of course, as always, you can shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Visit our partner right now at their location on Route 12 in Fox Lake, or you can go to raychevrolet.com. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, then you've heard of Ray's Price Promise. It's their guarantee to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever, with no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees ever. That means the incredible prices we're talking about right now, you can expect to see the very same when you shop Ray Chevy in-store or online. So shop great prices on new Chevys going on right now at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
All right, now we got some more super chats to get to. Papa Hawk with $10 says, Soderblom appreciation post, great shootout. He gave us every chance to win. He did in the shootout.
Yeah.
Didn't love his overall game today, but he's been awesome all year and redeemed himself in a shootout.
Some shaky moments, but yeah, to go from
0 for 9
in shootout attempts to then make saves on 8 of 10 tonight, that erases that narrative on him.
Lebowski 5 for $5 says, is it ridiculous? I don't know if he's saying it is ridiculous to think or is it ridiculous to think. He just says is. So I'm going to take this as a question. Is it ridiculous to think that because the Hawks have a super deep defensive pool, they can go after Rantanen, Marner, and Kaprizov in 2026 and pass on signing a big UFA defenseman?
I don't think they need to sign a big UFA defenseman.
I don't think so, especially if they keep Seth Jones around. You've got the continued growth of Vlasic. You're going to get Korchinski here. Levchinov will be here in probably at least 2 years, or at the latest 2 years.
Yeah.
They've got a ton of, I don't know. I just don't know if they should spend big money on a big UFA defenseman when they feel pretty good about a lot of the guys they have already.
Yeah, I think if you don't trade Jones, You have Vlasic. You have Murphy signed through next season. Like, that's 3. I would call Vlasic a veteran pretty much at this point. That's 3, like, guys that veterans or guys that can navigate the NHL. You have some young guys coming up, too. Nolan Allen's been in the NHL all season. Del Mastro. You have Korchinski as an option. Wyatt Kaiser as an option. You're likely to, like you said, Lev Shinov is still around. Crevier, up until he got hurt, was working his way into becoming part of the future. And Sam Renzel likely figuring into the future in the next season or so. So, yeah, I don't really see, unless you're moving any of those guys to add forwards, like impact young forwards, then you open up spots. I don't think you really need to go out and get a big UFA D-man. And I don't know. I feel like Kyle Davidson, with the defenseman that he's got going, I feel like he probably believes that those guys are going to start developing and being NHL regulars.
I think between Korchinski and Levshinov, I'm confident that one of those guys will turn into someday a big UFA defenseman. Like a guy, a guy you're going to have to pay a lot of money to.
That'd be wonderful
to keep around. And, so yeah, I think they feel pretty good. I think we'd maybe have to define that a little more. Like if you're talking about pursuing, a $9 million, $10 million plus defenseman, maybe not. But if you're looking to supplement, if you feel like, maybe Del Mastro, Allen, whoever you want to name needs another year or two on maybe another sort of short-term bridge deal for defensemen, maybe, but I don't know. I think their focus really needs to be up front and finding that support for Connor Bedard. And look, even if it is one of those big names we're talking about, Marner, Rantanen, the pipe dream is Kaprizov in 2 years, I don't even know if that's enough. I think there's probably more support up front he needs based on what's coming in the system. Now, of course, they could draft an elite forward in this draft and change the whole narrative, but we don't know that yet. I just think they really need to focus on getting the top 6 solidified as well as they can.
Well, I'm looking at, who's a UFA defenseman this summer?
Okay.
Neil Pionk? Jacob Chikrin?
I like Jacob Chikrin, but what is he? I don't think he advances anything for this team right now.
Matt Grzelcyk?
No.
Ivan Provorov?
No.
Dmitry Orlov?
Now, how old is he? 30?
He is currently 33.
33. He's younger than I thought.
Brent Burns.
Sure.
At 40
I would
years
just enjoy that. I like Brent Burns.
Vladislav Gavrikov.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cody Ceci.
I'd rather just see what they've got.
Yeah.
And let these young guys
play. If it's this summer, I'm fine not spending any money on any big UFA defenseman.
Agree. Agent Michael Scarn, $5, says, I'm still trying to take out AK for the Bulls, but ever since I took out Richardson, the Hawks have played with better energy. This youth is promising.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Let's see. Andrew Sorensen is now 9-15-5 in 29 games behind the bench. Not a ton better than Luke Richardson's 8-16-2 to start the season, but it has looked and felt a lot different because they're scoring more, they're playing with more speed, they're playing with more aggression in the forecheck. They're not, you're not losing games just because you're sitting back on your heels trying not to lose games, but you're still going to lose them anyway. Like this is a team that is playing with an energy and a system that wants them to play in motion, be aggressive, like try and go out there, play with speed, play with some creativity, try and score some goals. You're going to give up chances the other way, but you want to try and limit them as much as possible. It's a more exciting way to play losing hockey, if there's any silver lining to that.
I'm trying to do the math here, but I'm bad at it.
Do some math. Let's see. So that's 23 points.
23 points out of
29 games.
So that's 29 times 2 is 58. So that's 58 possible points.
Yeah, it's not a great.
So
point
23 of 58 is what?
Not great.
Basically 40%.
Basically, yeah. You're still 31st in the league under Anders Sorensen since he took over, but Sharks, who are 32nd in the league, who their rebuild is going swimmingly, according to some people, compared to the Blackhawks. In their last 27 games, 5-20-2. 12 points out of a possible 54.
Okay.
So,
but theirs is going much better.
Yeah, theirs is going so much better.
Young Dangle guy with another buck had a little comment about, I would imagine, the Caner. He says, lost in a shootout, tough pill to swallow. If only we had the highest scoring shootout goal scorer in NHL history on our team. Yeah, cough, cough, and he throws in his dollar for mentioning Patrick Kane. They got smoked today, the Red Wings. I was watching the Ning and the Wing today, and it did not go well for Detroit.
Yeah.
And SMV25 says, would you agree we need to finish more checks?
I think you should finish all checks.
Yes. A lot of people hung up on the hit numbers today. The Hawks are out hit 27-12. Keep in mind that the hit stat is very, very subjective to whoever is keeping the hit stats.
It sometimes can be home skewed.
More than any other stat in hockey, it seems to be the most tilted towards the home team.
Yeah.
Look, they are not a team built with a lot of very physical players, but I don't think they're soft by any means. I don't think it's a team that gets pushed around.
No, I would say that they're not. They don't play with that style. It's not a perimeter team. They have guys that, even though that they are not the biggest in stature, still want to play in the center of the ice and want to go there. And they have guys that, even though they're not the biggest in stature, will go into the corners and battle. And yeah, they're you don't need to be Pat Maroon size to be physical and to play a hard game to play against. I think guys like Landon Slaggert, Ryan Donato, not the biggest guys, but they play that style. Speaking of Ryan Donato,
yes,
been asking.
I know
Katie
you want to get to this. Yeah,
pull this up. So you were saying, if Donato had been asked about what do you want to be traded, everything. What we weren't able to get to on the show last night was Ryan Donato's post-game comments, and we start right in the middle of it. I believe it was Mark Lazarus is asking how Donato has been handling this season and with trade rumors swirling, and that's kind of where the direction of the post-game press conference went. So this was Donato from last night after his 4-point night.
I don't know. I mean, I always say it's my faith. I pray a lot, and things have been great this year. A lot of good things. I have a new daughter at home, and I think that's the key for me.
Did you come close to a fourth point before?
Can't remember, to be honest with you. So many games that blended in. I'm sure once or twice, but not many.
Seems like for a second game in a row, you and Bedard have something on the power play. What's going on there?
I mean, I give a lot of credit to him. I mean, he's so easy to play with. He's so easy to, read as you get to know him. He can see everything. So he's going to have obviously that release that he has, and that scares teams. And if you get open, he's going to find you too.
Was that a no look that you had on him, or on that pass to him?
Not really. I mean, I saw where he was going, but I didn't want to, let anybody see where I was going at the same time. But I mean, I had to look a little bit, but he was kind of in the corner of my eye.
How have you continued to focus and play when you got us asking you about the trade deadline every day and all this stuff? How have you managed to just kind of lock in?
I mean, I just try not to read into it, right? I always say, we have the best jobs in the world, right? We're NHL hockey players, and, it's nice to get the win and all that, but it's hard, obviously, not to focus on that sometimes. But, I just know God has a plan for me, and come to work every day and, give it my all.
I know it's a business, but do you feel like you're a big part of building the culture here?
I hope so. I mean, I want to do the right things, be a mentor for some of the younger guys, and I know how hard it is, especially when you're not winning every night, and it's tough. But I think at the same time, we have a lot of great leaders in this room, the guys that I look up to too, and there's definitely a good group of guys in here.
Since you worked in your skating last summer, have you felt faster this year? That last goal seemed like maybe an example where you were able to create separation that maybe last year wouldn't have been doable for you.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I worked on my skating a ton this summer, and it was something that, this league is, everybody can skate really well. If you get 1% better, it's something, it makes a huge difference in your own game. And for me, that's something I worked on, and, hopefully I can continue to try and, get better at that and continue to reap benefits from it.
The third guy in your line, Landon Slager,
What's he been like skating?
He's an animal. I mean, he's an awesome kid. Honestly, one of the nicest kids I've had the pleasure of meeting, especially as a guy that's, young and, he brings a fresh energy every day. He's happy. He's go-lucky. He's, I think I've heard people describe him as a dog on a bone, and that's true. I mean, he doesn't care. He's going to work as hard as he possibly can, and he wants to learn too, and those are the type of guys you want in your locker room.
Maybe don't fight Luke Shen for your first one.
Yeah, I don't think he had any idea what he was doing. I think he just, he got excited. When the adrenaline gets you, stuff happens. I think afterwards he was like, oh boy. but he did a great job holding his own, and, did a good job of protecting himself after, and, that definitely gave us a spark for the rest of the game.
So there's no confusion. That was from last night's game.
Yes, last night's game.
So yeah, I mean, I think one of the interesting things that he said regarding his future with the org is that he wants to do the right thing, and he wants to feel like he's part of the culture building and being in that role. So I mean, to me, it sounds like, and he said it at the beginning of the year. If you watch the first episode of this season's Every Shift, where they focus on him and his new baby with his wife and everything, and how he's been on 5 teams in 8 years. Like, stability could be a thing that is a driving factor in what he wants to do with his future moving forward. So whether that's here in Chicago or if not, picking up and moving again in the middle of this season, being traded, if that's something he doesn't want to do, maybe that is something that Kyle Davidson honors, and then honors it with also an extension. Like, I think it's still, as Greg was pointing out last night, like, just really comes down to what Donato wants to do. And I mean, he seems like a guy that would, from the outside looking in, would probably benefit from saying, hey, you're having your career best season. If you go and continue doing this on a contender into a playoff run, you are going to be probably wildly overpaid this summer.
Yeah, sure.
From some team. Or do you ride this out, believe in what the Blackhawks are doing, and play a role higher than you would on a contending team, and maybe be overpaid a little bit to be kind of in that Foligno and Dickinson role where you are the veteran leader, you are the mentor, and you're going to try and help move things forward. Like, and you get stability. You get to be in Chicago for X amount of years rather than bouncing from team to team. So, like, what does he value is going to be important.
Well, look, I mean, Elliot Friedman mentioned the Oilers, right? And you're talking about opportunity versus going to try to win and having a great playoff performance. Where is he playing on the Oilers? McDavid, Arvidsson, Hyman, Draisaitl, Skinner, Perry, Nugent Hopkins, Janmark, Brown, Henrique, Podkolzin, Kapanen.
He
squeeze it on the fourth line.
He's the 12th forward.
Sure. Or he can play on the first line with Connor Bedard the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And like, here's the thing too, and I think that I have to remind myself of this. I know we all do, and I think fans need to be aware of this too. Like, there's more that goes into these considerations than the hockey part of things. And the new family, the young family, the constant moving that he's had to go through in his career, he's got an opportunity to lay down roots here a little bit, even if it's for 2 or 3 years, if they choose to have more children and those children choose to play hockey. There's great hockey opportunities for his kids out here. Nick Foligno talks about that all the time.
You got to imagine that Donato family is going to have more hockey players.
Sure. Yes, I would think so too. It's, you know what I mean? It's just, there's more to it. And like the facilities the Blackhawks have versus other teams in the NHL, there's so many things that go into a consideration here. Aside from where is the team in the standings, right now, that guys consider. And I do think Ryan Donato is a guy who is going to look beyond money, right? He's not in it just to get rich. I think he's in it to make the best situation for himself and his family. And I certainly think the Blackhawks can provide that opportunity for him as well as any team in the NHL can.
Maybe. I mean, money also provides stability. So if some team is out there saying, hey, here's $5 million compared to the Blackhawks saying, hey, here's $3 million,
Yeah.
That could make a difference.
Sure, I just don't know what contender is going to find $5 million for Ryan Donato.
You'd be surprised. Salary cap's going up.
Yeah.
NHL GMs are dumb.
That's true. We know that's true.
A lot of things can happen. I mean, and again, like I feel like if he is moved to a contender, like let's say it is the Oilers, maybe he's the 12th forward on that team, but that's a team that I think a lot of people think is going deep into the postseason. And a guy like Ryan Donato, if he's on this hotter than burnt toast heater this season and carries that into Edmonton, he's going to eventually score some very timely, very important goals that could make a big impact in the postseason, that they're going to be on highlight reels, and there's going to be segments on TNT and ESPN and Sportsnet all about like, oh man, Donato scores the OT winner in Game 6 of the Western Conference Final or whatever. Like, that's a possibility. That's the kind of guy that I feel like Ryan Donato could be on a contending team, and that could do wonders for him.
Well, and there's always a chance too that he gets traded, has a nice playoff, and decides that he still wants to come back here. It happens very rarely, but you never know. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So I think Donato is a unique.
Is Ryan Donato to Chicago what Antoine Vermette was to the Coyotes?
Yes, I will say that. All right, I know we're getting a bunch of super chats tonight. We appreciate it. I want to make sure we get all of them in before we can. Who's your Hawk fan? Again, says, where is Bedard's great shot on a shootout? Okay, we got it saved today.
I mean,
even the greatest of all time, Patrick Kane, is like what, like a
54%? 51?
Yeah, 50-something.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not every guy who has an elite shot is great at the shootout, because the shootout comes down to not only a good shot, but also you got to have some good finesse moves in there. And I'd be willing to say that when all is said and done, Connor Bedard will have some pretty nice highlight reel shootout goals.
I would think so too. Andy Alum says everybody loves Celebrini, but are jealous of Bedard. I know there was some conversation going on about why is there no scrutiny to Macklin Celebrini's plus minus when it's all we heard about last year with Connor Bedard. I think a big part of that is that there is last year with Bedard, there was another fan base trying to get their guy to win the Calder Trophy. And really the only argument they had was, yeah, but Bedard's plus minus. And that's why you heard about it so much more.
Yeah.
I think that's why it seems so much more loud than last year than it is this year.
And the people that wanted to be right about Bedard not being a great player went to, well, he's not good defensively. And thus, look at this bad plus minus. He's a bad defenseman. Like, okay, if your analytical breakdown of Connor Bedard includes and emphasizes plus minus, but move on. Thank you.
All right. And $5 from Mr. Koala says, since Edmonton was already mentioned specifically and the Hawks already have so many picks, what would you think of Donato for Matthew Savoy? He's a 2022 9th overall pick. I don't think that if Edmonton's giving up that for Ryan Donato, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or if you're saying Edmonton's best prospects, arguably,
yes,
sure.
I saw someone also said that Easton Cowan should be traded from the Leafs for Ryan Donato.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take that.
If organizations want to give us their number one prospects for Ryan Donato, yes, 1,000 times yes. Love you, Ryan. I think Ryan Donato would say, damn, that's a good deal. All right, see you later. I'm out of here. You got to do what's best for the team.
Yeah.
This is God sending you a wonderful prospect.
Could be.
I think that's how he would look at it. All right, we've got to get to the fourth star of the game, and it was a close one today. The winner for the second consecutive day, I believe. Teuvo Teravainen. Did he win last night too?
I don't remember.
He won.
He won your last game.
2 games ago. Last time I was here. Yeah.
I think
last night
would
have been Donato. Or no, because he was one of the 4 stars.
Yeah, I think Bedard was last night.
Okay.
Anyway, last night was a fever dream. Yes, Teuvo Teravainen, 2 of the last 3.
Big game for him.
Good to see him shoot. I love it.
Yes.
He's got a good shot. 1 goal, 1 assist, 19:30 of ice time, 2 shots, 3 shot attempts. Solid game for Teuvo. And he's really come along after that slump. He's been a very, very reliable player for them. So, happy for him.
Good for him. And he's off to the Four Nations face-off.
Yeah.
Going to represent Finland.
Well, we got to talk about that too, because if you've missed it, we're going to be doing post-game shows for all of the Team USA games, all 3, and then also for the championship game, whoever it is. We'll be doing post-game shows for that. And I believe the plan is that Greg will be part of those too.
Cool. Awesome.
So the first one's Tuesday night. It's USA and Finland or Sweden?
I believe
it's not Canada.
I believe it's USA, Finland, then USA, Canada, then USA, Sweden.
Yeah,
and then
the championship.
USA and somebody in the championship.
That's right. Exactly. So we'll be on for all those post games. Make sure you join us for that. And we're going to be back tomorrow. Monday. We're not working Super Bowl Sunday. Tomorrow is the only day on my Google Calendar with nothing in it.
Oh, nice.
I think for the entire year. Because I think the entire
empty.
Nation is like, no, it's Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday.
No one's doing anything. I can't remember the last time I looked at my calendar and saw an empty day. I'm looking forward to it.
That will be nice.
I fired up some Charlie the Bacon Guy special recipe chili this morning.
Nice.
It's sitting there congealing in my fridge right now. Probably have a bowl before bed. Wake up with heartburn. Get those cornbread CBD gummies.
Start the day right.
I'm thinking what we should do though for Monday's show is probably a at the break mailbag. Like a big picture mailbag.
Sure.
I know we did one last week, but it was kind of more, let's try to steer it big picture. Maybe a little more focus on draft, a little more focus on prospects. The best way to do that is to hit us up in our members-only Discord. If you're a CHGO diehard, you get priority by writing us in the Discord. So we've got our own special mailbag channel right in there. And if you want to become a diehard, you could do that at allchgo.com or scan that QR code on your screen right now. Not only do you get access to our Discord, you get access to all of our great written content, locked or unlocked. I have to sneeze.
You get 20% off of events.
That has never happened before.
Merch.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. Written content. That's where you left it off.
Yeah, hat or shirt when you sign up. 20% off all the merch. All that great stuff. So, yeah, get your questions in on the Discord. If you're not a diehard, we still love you. You can hit that like button for us. We'll send a tweet probably Sunday night, Monday morning, appealing for questions. We'll send it on Blue Sky too, a skeet, if you will.
We're gonna send it at 5:00 on Sunday when everyone is on Twitter, so everyone will see it.
That sounds good,
and it will take top priority. It'll trend #1 worldwide over the Super Bowl.
It should be fun. So mailbag show on Monday, and first post game show USA Finland on Tuesday. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Have you gotten like a good barometer for like the excitement level about this?
I think
it's hard to tell.
I think with players opting out and then you get guys injured, mainly Canadians, I think you might lose a little bit of interest.
Yeah,
but I think you also like the anxiety over potentially Crosby not being in the tournament is a barometer of people actually care to see him. You know, if it was like the World Championships where it feels like because the best U.S. and Canadian players are playing in the playoffs, they don't always send the best roster. It's just like, if they don't do well, it's the World Championships. But this one, I feel like because they're stopping the league schedule, all these top players are going to be in it. I think people do care.
I know Elliot Friedman on the latest 32 Thoughts made a good point about Crosby saying, look, if he's banged up, let him skip these last 2 Penguins games and play in the Four Nations.
Right.
I think that's right. I think if anyone's earned the opportunity, it's Sidney Crosby, who has bent over backwards to make his contract palatable. He makes $8.7 million right now. That is ridiculous that a guy that good makes that little money. So let Sid play. I think everybody wants to see him play in this. Probably will be his last chance. 2026 Winter Olympics, maybe?
Next year? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. But I would think barring injuries, Sidney Crosby is still one of the 12 best forwards that are Canadian.
Any chance to see Sidney Crosby on the international stage, take it. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a great tournament. And I think USA is the favorite, so that should be fun for us. So join us Monday at 2:30. And again, Tuesday after USA and Finland for the post-game show. We appreciate everybody being here. Hit that like button for us and stick around because CHGO Bulls are standing by.
Did the Bulls win?
Bulls did not win.
I
see that. Does Dave have the bat? No, that's good. I'm going to get out of here before he does. Yeah. All right, Bulls up next. Stick around on the CHGO Sports YouTube page. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.